A trembling microphone, a single shaft of palace light, and 7 words that rippled through Britain like a cracked bell at midnight. I never married the woman I loved. King Charles III uttered the line as casually, as if he were discussing weather at a garden party, yet courtiers felt the walls of Buckingham Palace shift. For half a century, he has spoken in the measured cadences of duty. Now, at 76, he suddenly sounded like a man who had stumbled out of marble corridors and onto a windswept cliff, determined to shout the truth against the gale. The admission erupted during what had been billed as a routine audience with veterans' charities. Reporters expected thanks, handshakes, maybe a benign phrase about national service. Instead they heard an almost whispered confession that cracked open decades of royal intrigue. The public assumed he meant Queen Camilla. After all, the couple have weathered scandal, scorn and, recently, the king's own cancer treatments. Yet the way he framed it, the woman I never had the chance to grow old beside, raised a sharper, more tantalizing possibility. Had the sovereign just confirmed the existence of a secret, unreachable muse? Mid-speech, Charles paused, eyes glistening, before praising Camilla for 17 steadfast years of service that the public will one day see in full. He then spoke of another love, deeper than distance, older than duty, adding that life had taught him the high cost of crowns and the heavier cost of silence. Reporters' pens froze. Palace aides paled. Somewhere in the press pit, a single camera shutter sounded like a rifle shot. But what shook the kingdom most was the humanity behind the words. Charles, born into pageantry, reared on protocol, finally spoke as a man who has tasted longing, surrendered to duty, and still carries the ache of an unfinished sentence. The instant the live stream ended, hashtags exploded, #secret queen, #Charles confession, #lost love. Talk radio switchboards jammed, morning papers rushed out special late editions. And that's where our story takes its first hard turn. For while the nation debated whether the king had slighted Camilla or resurrected Diana, a quieter inquiry began unfolding in Clarence House, one that could rewrite the known timeline of royal romance. Palace archivists were summoned to find letters dated 1972, watermarked Balmoral. A discreet courier carried a locked folio to Windsor. No one has confirmed its contents, yet rumors hint at love notes signed simply L. Subscribe now so you'll learn what those letters reveal before headlines do. To understand why this moment matters, rewind 6 decades to an awkward, sensitive boy at Gordonstown. 14-year-old Charles, cheeks red from Scottish wind, jotted forlorn poetry about a laughing girl who ignores titles. Friends recall him wandering the grounds reciting Keats to himself. In that cloistered school, he first learned that even heir apparents can choke on loneliness. The lesson hardened when he entered Cambridge, and every dinner seating plan, every summer escort, was scrutinized by courtiers who saw future dynastic alliances, not teenage flutterings. Then, in 1970, along came Camilla Shand. She laughed at his Latin puns, called him my mountain goat after a clumsy polo tumble, and according to a naval officer, could cajole him out of a sulk faster than brandy. They were, by his own account, hopelessly simpatico. Yet palace advisors found her pedigree insufficiently pristine for a future queen. When Charles left for an 8-month deployment in the Caribbean, Camilla married cavalry captain Andrew Parker Bowles. The prince sailed home to gilt ceilings and a gutted heart. Duty soon demanded a bride who would calm the press and thrill the people. Enter 19-year-old Lady Diana Spencer, aristocratic, photogenic, and, fatefully, unacquainted with the labyrinth of royal survival. The 1981 wedding shimmered like spun sugar viewed from a distance. Up close, Charles's letters trembled with cold feet. I know my mind and heart are elsewhere. Diana, years later, would tell the BBC she walked down the aisle with 2 people beside me. From that triangle birthed the decade's greatest royal spectacle, plaques unveiled in the morning, icy silences at night. Charles phoned Camilla under the cloak of darkness. Diana, sensing betrayal, scribbled the now famous line in her diary: "There are 3 of us in this marriage, so it's a bit crowded." Her notebooks, later smuggled to biographer Andrew Morton, painted a wife oscillating between desperate love and boiling indignation. She developed bulimia, contemplated ending her life, yet still managed to charm AIDS wards and destigmatize landmine victims. In public she glowed, in private she shattered. Camilla, cast as villain, remained mostly silent, walking country lanes with her dogs while tabloids hounded her doorstep. Inside that crucible, Charles's voice, so cautious in speeches, became urgent in clandestine telephone calls, culminating in the leaked Camillagate tapes of 1989. The scandal seared itself into national memory, corroding what little trust remained between prince and princess. Separation followed, divorce became inevitable, tragedy soon after. Diana's death in 1997 froze her at 36, a luminous ghost haunting every future Charles decision. Yet the Camilla story did not wither. In 2005 they wed in a modest civil ceremony, Camilla in oyster-colored silk, Charles with hands visibly shaking as he slid on the ring. Many Britons had thought to ward her, others never would. Over the next 17 years Camilla earned grudging respect. Library quiet charity visits, a rescue dog adoption here, a gritted smile beside a cancer ward there. By the time Elizabeth II passed, the once vilified mistress became queen consort, her acceptance sealed by funeral hymns and handwritten notes. So who, then, is the king's confessed unaged love? Royal correspondents have floated 4 candidates: a youthful infatuation with Lucia Santa Cruz, the Chilean scholar, who introduced him to Camilla, a fleeting art school friendship known only as Anna K. In diaries, theorists even dust off old gossip about a Balmoral housekeeper's niece. Yet one archivist hints at a more poignant answer: an amateur painter, surname beginning with L, who attended Gordonstown's summer dances, later emigrated to Australia, and has never spoken to press. Recent Freedom of Information requests cite restricted files from 1972 to 1974. The palace refuses comment. Meanwhile, Camilla's reaction. Those close to her say she urged him to speak honestly, believing the public can bear complexity. She herself, in a rare magazine interview, explained that the bedrock of their marriage is laughter and space to breathe. Whether she anticipated a public declaration of lingering affection for another woman is unknown, but insiders note she dined with friends that night, leaving the palace via a side gate without visible agitation. The confession's aftershocks extend to Charles's sons. William schedules a discreet meeting with his father, determined to preserve both monarchy and the memory of his mother. Harry, half a world away, drafts new chapters for a potential sequel to Spare. Should Charles reveal the full identity of his lost love, Harry's publishers will scramble for rights to that vantage. William, steeled by experience, may quietly channel the revelation into mental health advocacy, arguing that emotional repression devours families, royal or not. Historical context sharpens the stakes. Across 6 centuries monarchs have juggled heart and throne. Henry VIII rewrote religion to pursue Anne Boleyn. George IV surrendered happiness when barred from marrying Catholic widow Maria Fitzherbert. Edward VIII abdicated for Wallis Simpson in 1936. The last time love trumped crown. Charles's life appeared to resolve that conflict, Camilla as consort, crown intact. Now, by hinting at an unnamed beloved whom duty forbade, he reframes his reign less as triumph than as cautionary tale. Power can preserve nations yet starve the soul. A week after the confession, palace workmen installed a simple marble bench in the Buckingham Gardens, inscribed with a Yeats line, "Tread softly, for you tread on my dreams." The king requested its placement beside a new patch of Scottish heather, enough to catch the scent of home on London winds. Visitors are told the bench is dedicated to all who loved in silence. The inscription's initials. Only CR and the letter L. Nothing more. Citizens now gather at the gates, leaving mixed tributes. Cornwall tartan for Camilla, white roses for Diana, lavender sprigs bound in ribbon marked L. Polls show a Britain divided yet intrigued. Is this weakness unbefitting a monarch, or honesty long overdue? A caller to BBC Radio 4 said, "For the first time, I hear the King's heartbeat, and it sounds like ours." Another texted, "If my taxes fund his palaces, he should keep his personal soap opera private." Next month, Charles plans a podcast, Reflections from the Throne, recorded in Windsor's Oak Room, moderated by historian Dr. Lucy Worsley. Palace PR intends a calm discussion of service, faith, and the arts. Yet Dr. Worsley is renowned for fearless questioning. Will she ask outright, "Your Majesty, who is the love you lost?" Producers have ordered extra soundproofing in case the room falls silent. Until that microphone captures either revelation or evasion, Britain waits in that delicious, dreadful pause where mystery and monarchy intertwine. The King has pried open the palace gates, just wide enough for us to glimpse a heart still bleeding for something unnamed, untamed, unfinished. Camilla stands beside him, Diana hovers in collective memory, and somewhere, perhaps on the far side of the world, a woman who once danced with a lonely prince may hear her story echo in chapel bells, she thought long forgotten. Stay with us, the next chapter is moments away. And if you have not already, hit subscribe now so you are first to hear whether the royal letters surface, whether the anonymous L steps from the shadows, and how 76-year-old King balances crown and conscience in the twilight of his reign.